This lesson is designed to teach you how to construct a class file. And what we're going to start with is the runner file that accesses the class file to accomplish its goals. So a commonly used example for a lesson like this is a triangle. So what does it take to construct a triangle and some of its components? Well, as you can see in this lesson, we've done a couple imports. Our class is triangle runner, and we have a main method. We initialize our scanner, and then we come down and we're asking the user to enter side A, side B, and side C arguments. And these are stored as integers in variables that are initialized as integers A, B, and C. Next in this method, we're going to establish a new object from the triangle class. So we're establishing a triangle named test as a new object from the triangle class, and we're passing parameters A, B, and C to establish this triangle. Now we're using our dot notation to specify object test dot calculate perimeter, test dot calculate area, and test dot print. So in our class file, known as the triangle.java file, the class file up here that we'll jump to in just a minute, we know that we're going to have methods that handle calculating a perimeter, calculating the area, and performing a print function for us. And now what's unusual about this program is we're going to do it more than once. So what you see happening next is we want to once again ask the user for the arguments A, B, and C. We're going to once again use the test object, but we're going to set some new parameters for it and pass parameters A, B, and C again. Notice we didn't have to set up a new object. We're reusing the triangle object in this case and running the same three method calls to calc perimeter, calc area, and print. And so in this lesson, we would typically have you add one more section where you would just replicate this code. So let's take a look at how to build a class. And this is very important for you to learn. This is your how to build a class lesson for AP CompSci, and it's an extremely powerful example to help you identify the components of the class. So your role is to have both these programs loaded in JCreator and take triangle.java as the primary file we're going to work with right now. And your instructions are to label and identify the parts of the class and the methods. Add comments that identify each type of method call or variable and the instructions that you see here. So when we establish the class, we start with a class declaration. So you need to hit a few tab spaces and come out here and type class declaration. Now I'm not going to be typing those in, but I am going to be identifying each of these components as we move forward. Now notice that we need some variables that are usable by all of the methods within the class. So what we're going to do is declare some instant variables, and they're private, which means they're only available for each instance of the object within this method or within this class. These cannot be called from outside. These are usable only locally or privately within the class. So the first one, private int side A, side B, and side C. This step is where we declare instance variables. And that actually holds true for all three lines. So private double perimeter is declaring an instance variable. Private double the area is declaring an instance variable. So later on we'll use calculations to determine the perimeter and the area. Whereas for side A, B, and C, we have to receive parameters that will fulfill that. But as you should have seen in the chapter, we have what's called a default constructor, where things are typically set to 0 or null. most commonly. So here we have public triangle. Notice that it has the same name as the class, which is how you know it's a constructor. And it's the default constructor because we're setting everything to 0. So out here you would label this one default constructor. Next, we're going to actually call a method called setSides and pass parameter 0, 0, 0 to it. Well, setSides is a method down here that's not defined yet. However, it has 3 parameters, A, B, and C, that are going to receive 0, 0, 0. So we, in essence, are establishing a 0-based triangle. Now, this is called a modifier method call because it is changing the value of some variables with by using the parameters, as you see when we get this built. So setSides 0, 0, 0 is a modifier method call. Next, we have to give values to these 2 instance variables that currently have no values. These were just declared. They've not been initialized. So perimeter equals 0 and the area equals 0. Both of these lines, the comment should be initialize instance variable. So we've accomplished several tasks already. Next, notice we again have a constructor named triangle. But where this one is the default, this is our initialization constructor where we're going to actually give values to A, B, and C. So we're going to do things just a little bit differently here. We're going to actually add a line of code that will set our sides A, B, and C by calling once again down to setSides. And setSides will plug the values in for us once we pass them on the method call. So once again, we're doing a modifier method call with this line that I'm currently working on. And it calls down to setSides. Now we have to kind of follow the format of what we did above. We still have to initialize these 2 lines of code within this method as well. So I'm just going to copy and paste these, clean them up a little bit. So now this contains the modifier method call, as I've already told you. And once again, we're going to initialize 2 instance variables, perimeter and the area. So you should have captured all those descriptions that I've just given you as comments. Now we've been calling setSides. And setSides is a modifier method. So this is commented as a modifier method. It's receiving parameters A, B, and C. And it's going to assign those values to the private variable side A, side B, and side C. And remember, when we do these, we always place the variable names on the left and the parameter names on the right of the formula. So here we're initializing instance variables. Sorry for that. These are our instance variables being initialized one more time. Next, we have a helper method. This is the perimeter helper method. It's going to help us calculate the perimeter. And our perimeter is merely a calculation that sets the value of the perimeter variable equal to side A plus side B plus side C. And so this statement can easily be commented as calculates perimeter. So we have a perimeter helper method and calculate perimeter. Next, we have to calculate the area. And it just so happens that we don't have enough variables to do this formula the way we'd like to do it. So we've added a new variable, which is a local variable. So double S is a local variable within the calc area, or the area helper method. Next, we need to calculate S. Well, S is used here as part of a calculation where we want to calculate, take the perimeter and divide by 2. So the perimeter has already been calculated, and you'll notice in our method calls in Triangle Runner, they always call perimeter first. So perimeter already exists and has a value. And then we still have to calculate the area. And so the next chunk of code we're going to add calculates the area. And this is simply labeled calculate area. So in calculate area, we have the area helper method. We've established a local variable. We have calculate the S value using perimeter divided by 2. And then we have the area calculation where we calculate area. So those are your comments that you would use for this method. Next, we're going to print. So we have a print method. And within the print method, we're going to simply print the perimeter and print the area. Okay, so we've identified all the components of the class. I took out the toString method, and you've been given all of the comments that you should have added to your code today. So if I were to check your code would look identical to this. However, it should contain a series of green comments out to the right. Remember, when doing inline comments, all you have to do is put a whack whack in front of it or a slash slash in front of it. And be prepared for a test on how to assemble a triangle class and define each line item within this class. That's it for now.